Welcome to Arthritis at Home. My name is Ellen, and I'm the Programs Coordinator for Arthritis Consumer Experts. Today, I want to thank you for joining me for a 20-minute flow as we explore kind of the hip area, the front and the back of the legs, as well as our lower legs. With that, I'm going to encourage everyone to pause the video as needed. I have here a towel, just a white towel, and I'm going to use it today to actually cushion my lower back. So it's a little bit of a cueing mechanism. Feel free to grab one of those. A dish towel will do, as long as it's clean, of course. I'm going to drop that nice and close to my mat. And then the second item that you're going to grab is, again, some sort of strap. I have here an exercise band, and the purpose of this object will be to extend your arm. So I'm going to reach for the legs, and when you do, you want to make movement accessible. I have very short limbs, so I need a little band to help me reach. There we go. Once again, drop that on the floor. That's a very key step. So once you're ready to get flowing, I'm going to take you through how we get onto the mat. I have demonstrated this in previous videos, but I think it's a great skill for us to practice. So I have my chair set up nice and close to my mat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hinge at the hips, which means I'm going to imagine someone's chopped me at the hips. I'm going to move my hips back. I am a toppling tree. I'm going to place both of my hands on the chair. Please bend your knees as much as you need. From here, I'm going to drop my knee. That's a little bit farther away from the camera. So that's for me, the left side. Take my left hand, place it on the outside of my mat, and then bring both hips towards that same side. And from there, I am on my yoga mat. From this seated position, I'm going to make my way onto my back by bringing both of my legs together. I'm going to do a little scooch, and I'm now sitting sideways. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach the bottom arm all the way up, and now I'm lying on the side and quite comfortable. And take that same arm, I'm going to feed it through, and then rolling hips and knees together, shoulders and arms. Good. All in one piece, and then you're on your mat. Or like me, you'll have to do a little bit of a scooch. So once you arrive on your mat, give yourself a few seconds to get comfortable, whether your eyelids fall closed or you can tell that my hands came right to my belly. Let these intuitive movements take over, so don't restrain yourself. No need to ask kind of questions. Allow your body to take any shape. And it might take a minute or two. That's okay. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage everyone to actually bend their knees and place their feet at, I wouldn't say touching the hips, but nice and close to the hips. Right away, we're going to take some deep breaths in and some deep breaths out. Once again, you can place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly, both hands on the belly. Whatever feels nice and grounding to you today. Even though I keep looking over at the camera, I'm going to encourage everyone to look up at their ceiling. Try to keep their neck nice and flat as you breathe in and out. Feel free to play around with your breath. Maybe you exhale through the nose, maybe you exhale through the mouth. That's okay. Once you've found some nice long breaths, aim for about 4 seconds as you breathe in and 4 seconds as you breathe out. I use that as my benchmark. What we're going to do is take our towel or something that has a little bit, has the ability to take the shape of your lower back, and you're going to gently feed it through. So I have this at the curviest part of my lower back. That's maybe a little bit too much cushion. And this is a reminder for me to engage, right, my abdominal area, to impress my navel into the yoga mat, or in this case, into the towel. This just means I'm maintaining my neutral spine. All right, from here, I'm going to hug my left knee into the chest. Again, move nice and slowly. Some of us may find this movement really easy. Some of us may feel tightness. But one thing is for certain, if you take nice long breaths, you're going to find space in that hip, which means that you'll be able to draw the knee closer and closer to the chest. Notice if your shoulders are rising up. I want to ask you to ground them down. Shoulders away from ears. Shoulder blades heavy. Imagine your shoulder blades are imprinting onto the mat. We're stamping them out with those shoulder blades. Notice if the lower back is arching. You want to make sure you're pressing the lower back into that towel. Beautiful. One more large inhale. And one full sigh out the mouth. Make some noise. Good. Remember, no one's listening. From here, we'll place the left foot down, and then you're switching to your other side. And you may notice, once again, that, oh, I have one side that is a lot looser than the other. And this is not uncommon. This is actually more common than uncommon. You have one side that's a little bit tighter, or one side that's holding resistance, versus the other has a little bit more space, right? So one side is compensating. I'm going to encourage you to give both sides of your body equal love. Full inhale here. As you exhale, everything gets heavy. Everything melts away from the head, neck, and shoulders. One more breath in. Hold at the top, and this time we'll sigh it out. Make some noise. Return the right foot to the ground. And then from here, we're going to do a little bit of a marching exercise. So I'm going to start with that first leg that I lifted up. Give it a little hug. Pull it into the chest. And then release and switch. Other side. You're welcome to find a breath if you like. Inhale to release. Exhale to hug in. Or any breath that works for you. The practice of breathing actually is more of an art both of an art and a science than we give it credit for. So if you're having trouble coordinating that breath, just know that it is like any other skill. We practice and practice. Good. One last time here. And then beautiful. Place both feet on the ground. I'm going to encourage you now to allow the knees to fall out towards the side. So my left knee is going out to my left side. My right knee is falling out towards my right. I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together. So we call this movement butterfly. This is a lot of pressure, and really we're just using gravity, which I really love, right? So we're using the kind of what's naturally around us. If this movement is a little bit too much and you feel a lot of strain in the groin area, I'm going to get you to move your feet a little bit farther away from you. If you want more of a stretch, move your feet a little bit closer. So you do have options, encouraging your breath, right? So how do you know if movement is maybe a little bit too hard and maybe a little bit too easy? So I always ask my breath that question. Am I able to breathe very comfortably in that position? If movement is maybe a little bit, if it isn't serving me, I feel like my breath actually isn't focused. Versus if there's a little bit too much sensation from the movement, my breaths get kind of shallow. So find a pose where you can take those deep breaths. And what you'll notice is that, oh, my lower back is trying to lift off the ground, and that's very natural as you come into this externally rotated position. All right, so one of the most difficult but easy looking exercises. What you're going to do here is think really about tucking your pelvis underneath you, engaging navel, pressing lower back into the towel here, and then one leg at a time. I'm going to bring my left leg up. And then exhale, bring my left leg down. The trick is not to move your right. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, right leg down. Really, the complexity of this movement comes in not only coordination, but the isolation of the opposing limb, right? So it's difficult, not because I'm moving one side, but because I have to keep the other one still. I really like these movements where I really have to think. I have to think about inhales and then exhales. I have to think about movement. And I have to think about stillness on the opposing side. Beautiful. Last one on each side. Move slowly. If slow is comfortable, I'm going to ask you to move a little bit slower. Good. And for about 3 breaths, do them with me. We're going to bring both knees in together and allow them to fall apart together. Inhale. Hug both knees, magnetize the inner thighs, allow the feet to rotate very naturally. Exhale. And you can tell that I'm sighing out my mouth and making an exasperated noise. Inhale. Knees wave up. Exhale, ground down through the lower back, ensuring that it's not coming up. Good. Last one here. Exhale, let the knees fall heavy. And if we did this correctly, you're going to find that your knees are quite a bit lower than where you started. Awesome. So from here, I'm going to ask everyone to come back to the position in which we started, which is my knees are about hip width apart, and I have my feet planted on the ground. So from here, I'm going to grab my second towel or strap, etc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep one leg bent, and I'm going to lift the other leg up. Step 1 is start by hugging, once again, the knee into the chest. Except for the difference is this time I have my leg more extended. I'm not fully extended, I have my leg more extended. Right away, you're going to find that, oh, this is a little bit different of a stretch. The sensation this time should be in the back of the thigh, which we call our hamstring muscle. And you'll find that the more you extend your knee, the more you hug it in, the more sensation there is. And sensation is good, but we have to find kind of the optimal level of sensation that is really benefiting us. Once again, using your breath, and you may find a little bit more space. So our next step here is you can bend the limb. I'm going to hook my strap around it, and then now I get to play here with maybe straightening my leg a little bit more and having a little bit of fun with that. Again, my knee is not perfectly straight. We want to keep always a gentle bend, protecting our muscles as well. It is possible to overstretch, absolutely, especially the hamstring muscle. Okay, let's play a little bit here. So my toes are flexed down towards my face. When I do this, I'm actually able to get into the calf muscle. If I point my toe, not as much. So flex and point, and flex and point. Maybe do that a little bit slower. Sorry, guys. I always like to rush my movement. And then you'll find that, oh, that feels really good. If you do that a few times, then you're really able to bring the toes back towards your face and this deep stretch, right? You'll find that there's a layer underneath kind of the bulk of your calf. There's a muscle called the soleus that lies really, really close to the bones in our legs, as well as, oh, for me, I can really feel it in my hamstring and insertion, so where my muscle actually inserts onto my hip. So beautiful. We will unhook here, drop that leg down, and what I'm going to encourage you to do to reset is hug both knees into the chest, rock side to side on your back, and then massage out those thighs, or really it's my left thigh, because I stretched out my left leg. Maybe as well give the hamstring a little bit of love, a little bit of massage. Awesome. So from here, we're going to switch to the other side. So coming back to our starting position, this time I'm going to bring both hands behind my right leg. Again, gentle hug to start. Really just focusing on the breath, because the breath will tell you where to start, where to stop. Once again, you're going to find one side that maybe has a little bit of more space. So I definitely have more space on this side, which simply means I have less resistance as I bring my leg up. It's very fluid. There's less tightness. Feel free to roll out your ankle, maybe side to side, drawing a circle. And feel free to take any movement. Remember that whatever I'm saying is only a suggestion, and that the thing that would make me the absolute happiest is for you to take any movement that serves you. So now I'm going to grab my strap, towel, scarf, whatever you have on hand. I'm going to loop it around my foot by bending my foot in, and then looping it around the bulky part of my foot. And then from here I can play with extending my knee just a little bit more. I'm still going to keep it still, there's still a gentle bend in my knee, no matter what. And then notice how it takes you a few more cycles of breath to get comfortable in this position. Feel free to bend and to flex. So point the toe and then flex the toes back towards your face. On this side as well. Good. Last deep breath in. Deep breath out. And we will slowly unhook the band. Place both feet back down. And same thing to reset. Let's hug our knees into our chest. Rock side to side. And maybe give our thighs as well as our hamstrings a little bit of a massage. When you're feeling ready, we're going to plant the feet back down where we started this key position. We're now going to think about lifting our hips. So this is where that towel really is going to come in handy. When we lift our hips into our, what we call our glute bridge, the movement actually initiates by you pressing your navel down and then lower back pressing down into the towel. So it's this movement first. I'm not lifting my hips straight up. I'm pressing my lower back, engaging my abdominals first, and then I'm able to articulate my hips up. And I'm going to remind everyone right now that it doesn't matter how high you go. I really want you to get this kind of articulation through your back. So step one, you're welcome to take your fingers and place them on kind of the central part of your belly button. Good, or sorry, central part of your belly, close to your belly button. And we're going to start here by navel in, and then you're going to find that your lower back presses on the towel. Good, and you see I couldn't even pull my towel out right now because there's so much pressure there. Good. From here, think about pressing all edges of your feet into the mat, and then slowly starting from the very last vertebrae, lift one hip. So as I lift the hips vertebrae by vertebrae, I have about a hand distance of space beneath my hips, and then slowly as I drop down, start once again, right? Start with that belly button, then vertebrae by vertebrae, you roll down. The last thing to hit the mat is that last vertebrae. All right, let's try it 2 more times. Let's use our breath. So inhale, pressing navel into the belly into the back, back connects with the towel. From here, pressing feet into the yoga mat, and then I'm lifting my hips up, starting with my lowest vertebrae, and then up and up and up. Maybe I get a little bit higher. You can tell I'm not fully up my glute bridge. And as I exhale, start high. Feel one vertebrae at a time as you roll down through the upper back, the mid back, the low back, and then finally the last thing to hit the ground are those hips. Okay, one more time. I'm going to hopefully not ramble as much. Inhale, engage belly, press into your feet, and then lift those hips up. And then as we exhale, sign out the mouth if you please, lowering the upper back, the mid back, the low back, and finally the hips. All right, I'm going to encourage you now to do it 3 times on your own. You're welcome to do it with me, but I really do, want you to do it with your own breath. Inhale to lift your hips, exhale to release. That's all you have to remember. I'm going to place my hands down by my side to ground and press into your shoulders as well. That will give you a little bit of extra leverage. Inhale, engage belly, press low back into the the towel here. Inhale, press into feet, press into shoulders, squeeze the glutes together. Good. As you exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, we're going to drop it down. 2 more on your own time. And then last one here. Beautiful. Awesome work. Allow your knees to fall side to side. We call this a windshield wiper movement. Just to release everything, to reset. And then we're going to finish off with our final movement. Starting again from the same position. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. And what I'm going to think about doing is press my right knee away. So think of your right knee as a sail. Right? You want your sail not to be folded. You want your sail to be pressed out so it can catch some wind. If this is quite accessible, you do have options to make it a little bit harder. But I do want everyone to once again notice what your lower back is doing. So option number 1 is actually to lift the foot off the ground. The second option to make this a little bit more difficult is actually to reach your hands. So what I'm doing is I'm threading my right hand underneath so I can grab underneath my left thigh, and then I'm interlacing my fingers so I have that nice strong hold. The most important thing though is I'm keeping my lower back nice and engaged. It knows where that towel is. There again, there is no wrong or right. If you're doing this stretch correctly, you're going to feel on the outside of that right leg, right? It goes into our IT band and into your glute muscle, actually one of the biggest muscles. I think it is the biggest muscle in your body. Deep breaths here. The last one. Slowly release the fingers, you have them interlaced, and then drop the legs back on the ground. And then from here, what I'll ask you to do is to do a little bit of a pitter-patter with your feet, maybe even with your legs, just to reset the body. Okay, other side now. Crossing left leg over right. Once again, I'm going to press my left knee away from me. And give yourself a few seconds to get grounded. You may notice that your hips are trying to tilt. So I notice that right now my left hip is trying to drop down and my right hip's trying to pull up. I want to keep my pelvis nice and neutral. So equal and opposing forces. Yes, my knee is pressing away, which makes me want to tilt towards that side. But I'm going to use my abdominal muscles, ensure that I'm actually laying flat on my back. Good option to take the legs up into the air, maybe even all the way to kind of a 90-degree angle, and then to feed the arms through, I'm interlacing my fingers behind my right thigh. And you'll notice, maybe the stretch is very intense on this side, and that you don't want to do the same thing. It is totally okay. It is preferred. It is superior, probably, to actually listen to your body and be like, that movement I'm able to do on that side, this movement, I'm actually gonna not interlace my fingertips. I have a little bit of tension on my left side today. And for me, I can feel the muscles tense, and there's this pulling sensation in my muscles and a little bit of heat. So I know, like, okay, those are really tight. They don't want to be stretched in that way. So 2 more deep breaths here. Even bigger now. Side out. Good, slowly lower the legs back down onto the ground. Give your feet a little bit of a pitter patter. And then from here, what I'll do is we'll do a class closing. So we're going to roll onto our left side. So I'm going to roll towards you. I'm going to start with my knees, and then I'm going to lift my hips. I'm going to lift my shoulders. I'm going to extend that left arm overhead. Oh, this position looks very familiar. From here, I'm going to reach that top leg out. I'm going to press with my top arm. I'm going to walk myself back up. Oh, you're going to have to forgive my wonderful hairstyle. And with that, I'm going to thank everyone for their time, for their presence, and really for being here to take care of yourself. I honor that, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. If you have any comments, questions, you want more, you want less, please comment or email us is even better. Please email us to let us know how we can serve you. With that, thank you very much, and we'll see everyone next time.